Greetings, future corpses, and welcome to Dark Truth Revealed. I am your funeral guide, Neville Strange. Here to walk you down the candlelit corridors of the human mind, where every shadow has teeth and every whisper hides a scream. Tonight's truth? Oh, it's a chilling one. A story of a humble baker in the frozen north who needed dough by day and hunted flesh by night. So bundle up tight, because you're about to enter the hunting grounds of the butcher baker. Shall we begin?
Robert Hansen. His name may not echo like Bundy or Dahmer, but for over a decade in the vast frozen wilderness of Alaska, his reign of terror turned a state of boundless beauty into a hunting ground of horror. To his neighbors, he was the quiet man behind the bakery counter, selling cinnamon rolls and pies with flour-dusted hands. To his church, he was a family man, faithful if a little shy. But in truth, he was a predator, patient, precise, and sadistic. It is always the unremarkable ones you should fear the most. Hansen was born in 1939 in the small farming town of Esterville, Iowa. His childhood was not the stuff of warmth and lullabies. His father, an immigrant baker from Denmark, demanded discipline, obedience, and long hours of labor in the family bakery. Robert's life revolved around kneading dough before dawn and scrubbing floors long after sunset. At school, he found no refuge. His stutter betrayed him every time he opened his mouth. Words came halting, broken, stumbling across his tongue. His acne erupted into scars that carved permanent pits into his skin. He was awkward, withdrawn, and cruelly ridiculed. The laughter of classmates, especially the giggles of girls, burned into him like acid. That rejection grew into bitterness. Bitterness fermented into hatred. And that hatred, my fiends, would eventually spill into blood. By his early 20s, Hansen had already shown his taste for destruction. In 1960, he set fire to a school bus garage, an act of arson without logic, a spiteful outburst against a world he believed had wronged him. He was caught, convicted, and sent to prison. Evaluations labeled him with disorders and delusions. He served time, received treatment, and when he walked free, he appeared reformed. But you and I know better, don't we? Monsters do not change. They only learn patience. In 1967, Hansen decided he needed a fresh start. He left Iowa behind and moved north to Alaska, a place where the land was as wild as the people who came seeking fortune. Anchorage in the late 60s and 70s was booming with oil money. Men flooded the city for work, and where men gather with money and vices, nightlife flourishes. Fourth Avenue became the artery of sin. Bars, strip clubs, and sex workers walking beneath the glow of neon. It was a city that offered anonymity to anyone who wanted to disappear. To Hansen, it was perfect. Hansen opened a bakery. He remarried, fathered children, and blended into the community. But what truly defined him in Alaska was his skill as a hunter. He stalked moose and caribou with precision, lining his walls with taxidermy trophies. He was respected among fellow outdoorsmen, admired for his patience and accuracy. But the wilderness gave him something else: opportunity. Hansen realized that women from 4th Avenue were often transient. If one went missing, few asked questions. Families were distant. Police were indifferent. They were the invisible, and therefore, to Hansen, the perfect prey. His method was cold and systematic. He would lure a woman into his car, sometimes with promises of money, sometimes at gunpoint. Once trapped, he either drove her to his modest home or straight to Merrill Field, where his small Cessna bush plane waited. Imagine the terror, my delicious corpses. You are shackled, loaded into a tiny plane. The lights of Anchorage vanish below, replaced by endless black forests and frozen rivers. The engine hums like a funeral hymn. You know you are leaving the world behind, and you know you will not return. In the wilderness, Hansen played God. He stripped them of clothing, released them into the forest, and gave them the cruelest gift of all, hope. He let them believe they could escape. He let them run. Then, with the patience of a marksman, he stalked them. Step by step, he followed until he decided the chase was over. A crack of the rifle, and another trophy fell. For Robert Hansen, this was not about necessity. This was pleasure. It was domination. It was sport. But even the most careful hunter leaves tracks. There were whispers in Anchorage, women vanishing, names fading into silence. Hansen had been questioned more than once. Complaints of harassment, suspicions, even minor arrests for theft and insurance fraud. But his polite manner and ordinary facade shielded him. He was always released, always underestimated. Then came Cindy Paulson. In 1983, Hansen abducted Cindy, bound her, and brutalized her. He told her they were flying to his remote cabin. His voice was calm, his smile almost gentle, but the words promised death. At Merrill Field, as Hansen loaded the plane, Cindy seized her only chance. She bolted barefoot across the tarmac, shackles clanging, and flagged down a truck. She went straight to the police. She gave them his name. She told them everything. But once again, the system failed. Hansen denied it all. A friend vouched for him. He even passed a polygraph test. Cindy was dismissed. Hansen walked free. The wolf returned to the forest. That same year, the wilderness began to betray him. Hunters stumbled upon shallow graves near the Kinnick River. Then more. Bodies of women who had worked 4th Avenue, killed with precise hunting rifles. The connection was undeniable. The FBI's Behavioral Science Unit was called. Profiler John Douglas crafted a chilling sketch. The killer was an avid hunter, socially awkward, low self-esteem, likely a stutter. Married, polite, a man who blended in. It was Robert Hansen. The profile might as well have been his portrait. Still, suspicion is not enough. Police needed proof. They began to dig into Hansen's history. Old reports surfaced. Witnesses came forward. Eventually, investigators secured a warrant. They searched his home. What they found was a secret museum of horror, hidden stashes of jewelry, rings, necklaces, trinkets stripped from victims, rifles meticulously cleaned, and the most damning artifact of all, an aviation map. A map marked with tiny X's scattered across the Alaskan wilderness, each X a grave. Confronted with this evidence, Hansen's facade crumbled. Over days of questioning, he confessed to at least 17 murders. Some say the real number was closer to 30, maybe more. He described the hunts without emotion, like a man recalling the steps of a recipe. Release them, let them run, chase them, kill them, collect the souvenir. In 1984, Robert Hansen was sentenced to 461 years in prison without the possibility of parole. He was locked away at Spring Creek Correctional Center, where he remained until his death in 2014 at the age of 75. He died not at the end of a rope, nor in a blaze of violence, but quietly, carried away by time. But his story did not end with him. Some of those X's on his map were never searched. Too remote, too dangerous. Some families never had answers. To this day, the Alaskan wilderness may still conceal his victims beneath moss and snow. Think of that, my fiends. Somewhere out there, along quiet rivers and beneath silent trees, the earth hides secrets only the wind remembers. Robert Hansen's tale is a lesson in disguise. He was no wild-eyed monster with blood on his face. He was a baker, a husband, a father, a man you might smile at across a counter. That is the most chilling truth of all. Evil often looks ordinary. He blended into society so well that his neighbors defended him. He was a good man, they said, a family man. Yet his true self was etched into the soil outside Anchorage, marked by the bones of those who trusted him or simply crossed his path. And yet, one survivor, Cindy Paulson, proved that monsters can be unmasked. Though dismissed at first, her testimony eventually became the cornerstone of his downfall. She outran death, and more than that, she outlasted disbelief. She gave voice to the silenced. Hansen's crimes also forced Anchorage to confront its indifference. For years, missing women from 4th Avenue had been ignored. Only when the graves multiplied did the city listen. His case revealed a grim truth. Society often overlooks those it deems disposable until their absence becomes undeniable. And so we are left with this. A predator who hid behind pastries and politeness. A man who transformed Alaska's vast wilderness into his own private killing ground. And a reminder that the true face of evil does not always leer from the shadows. Sometimes it smiles from behind a bakery counter.
And so, my delectable little fiends, another dark deed is done, and another wicked soul is tucked away where it belongs. But remember, for every monster we catch, there's always another lurking just beyond the lamplight. I do hope you've enjoyed tonight's little morsel of madness. I'll keep the shadows warm for you. Until we rot again at death's next appointment.
Whispers at your window, scratching at the glass. Footsteps in the hallway, shadows slowly pass wall. Never hides its grin. Close your eyes a moment, let the nightmare in. Every fear you're hiding, every scar concealed, bleeds into the night.